What's up, party people? My name is Sunny Ray. This is the Sunny Ray Show. We had, I don't know, 5 awesome interviews yesterday. Today we've got, I think, even more. My first guest was an M&A lawyer for 10 years and then pivoted into technology, working for startups in the fintech sector. He's a CEO and co-founder of Brickken. His name is Edwin. I'm going to bring on Edwin to stage. Hey, Edwin, how's it going, bud?
Hey, hello, Sunny. How are you? Thank you very much for having me on the show. Happy to be here and excited to talk about Brickken and my trajectory.
Cool, man. Where you calling in from?
I'm currently based in Barcelona, Spain. So very nice here. It's almost 2 p.m. and almost weekend. So very excited to, and August, of course, and Barcelona in the summer. You can't beat that.
Yeah. I've only been once or twice, but a beautiful place. So, Edwin, take us into the deep end. What is Brickin? Why should people care? What are you building?
Yeah, so basically what we're building is the digitization of financial instruments. So by using blockchain technology, we're able to digitize and tokenize whatever it is, if it's equity, bonds, treasuries, commodities, gold. So we're providing a software as a service solution that allows companies in any geography to be able to tokenize any of the assets that they want. And we've been doing this for over 6 years. And this is kind of like a niche tokenization as a service.
Well, I like that. I mean, definitely something that I've been thinking a lot about over the years. So I guess, let's go back a little bit, Edwin. Talk, you spent your early career in corporate law and M&A, right?
Yeah.
So what was it about watching those deals get done, kind of like the fragmented systems, the manual processes, the layers of kind of intermediaries that made you think that, there had to be a better way to structure ownership?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, I was a practitioner of M&A back when there was still documents that were not even uploaded on the digital format. So there was still structuring some invoicing or contracts or anything that was still on paper. So that was a very heavy couple of first years. And then digitization came and okay, uploaded something. But one thing that I always noticed is that value was always kind of like needed to be reconciled with the other counterparty in a buyout or when you were extending your own business unit. There was a lot of problems there. That should have been simple because in the end, kind of like in my knowledge of lawyer back then, it's just a matter of, okay, this is the math and it goes there. But in the back, there's so much things happening. What is the value of the IP? Where is the assets? Have all payments been done? Why is the bank accounts not really reconciling with the accounting books? Uh, there's things you really don't think about it. But during the years that I was working, I was like, this is absolutely painful. We know value, but we don't know how to secure and transact value. And this is because of something you said, fragmentation of information. Everybody's the owner of their own information and data, and sharing, it's a thing that is not for free.
So such a simple thing, but such an important one, right? I mean, if you can't even attribute ownership properly, efficiently, effectively, I mean, that puts us back into caveman days. So, you've said that you entered blockchain because it offered better infrastructure, right, for ownerships, not because you wanted to build another crypto product. How did you tell that difference apart in the early days when most of the industry around you was doing kind of the opposite?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question. I was not even in crypto until like 2021. That was, I think, my first purchase of crypto per se. Before in 2018, I landed into because we needed to study something that at the time I didn't know it was named oracles. We needed to put offline value online, and we needed to be sure that the rate was correct and all of these things. And that's how it got to study blockchain actually. So I stumbled upon out of this of a need, and I was like, oh, this is so simple because that means everybody can have access to the value and the transactions 24/7 worldwide. And the data point is always the same, and everybody has access to the same means. So that's kind of like what I thought it was like. This is a very interesting technology. And that's what I created. I started loving the infrastructure technology, kind of like the open ledger, which is like this huge accounting book, immutable, like almost perfect, and basically that's what I did. And yeah, the first years, a lot we didn't get a lot of noise or years. Everybody was excited about cryptocurrencies, NFTs, the metaverse. Those were like 2021. But we stayed true to ourselves. We knew that in the end, I personally always thought that technology, you can use a knife to, I don't know, to cut meat, to feed or anything, or you can use it as a design in some house, like a piece of art. I mean, it's still the juice will be always what it was meant to be, right? Which is cut through. And that's kind of it's all technology. A lot of technology was being used for various formats, but in the end, transactional value, even Bitcoin white paper was P2P, right? Transfer of value. So the whole source of the technology was always supposed to be used for financial transactions, and here we are.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. So, Brickken started out focused on making real estate accessible. Can you walk me through what that first version actually looked like and who your first customers were?
Yeah, so at the beginning, we thought about what we call back there democratizing real estate, lowering the ticket, managing some properties, and then get it funded by the crowd, and then we manage the property, we flip or we buy and rent or whatever. That was kind of like the main idea, and we wanted to use tokenization or blockchain just because we wanted to get also exposure elsewhere, kind of like sometimes transaction of $1,000 between I don't know North America to Europe, you lose fees, so maybe the interest doesn't replenish that fee that you pay. So we were looking about it from an infrastructure point of view, and basically, the more we started studying, it took us 1 year, 2020, 21, to really pivot and say like, hey, what we're trying to build somebody else may try to build. Why don't we, instead of focusing on real estate, we provide that solution for people not to have to build what we did? Because when we started building, it was absolutely painful. The technology was not there. There was a lot of building elsewhere. Stable coins were not as we do it. Payment gateways on ramp, off ramp. So we thought an opportunity is like, if you want to build something in this sector, it's super costly. It takes a lot of time, and we were like, maybe we become the supplier of technology to future us, and that's how we pivoted into becoming ourselves a supplier of technology, software as a service, rather than us managing assets and crowdfunding with people.
Smart, smart. So what did the market teach you in those kind of early months that you didn't already know from your legal background?
Oof. Well, I mean, I think the best school ever is startup. It's either working for one or building one. You don't get the exposure of knowledge. Because when I was working as a lawyer, I was very much stuck to the lawyer corporate side of things, contract based, right? And then when you become in a startup, you suddenly become marketing, sales, people. You become everything because at the beginning there's no more. So you really have to study and dig deep. And what it teach me is that yeah, companies, you gotta respect business owners out there because the day to day it's brutal. Kind of like people say like, oh, he's a business owner, he must not care about employees. Oh, he's already rich, he doesn't care. But I can assure you that after a couple of years, everywhere I go, and I respect so much everybody trying to build something on their own because it's brutal. There's no. I heard once time and one thing, and it really stuck my mind, and for years it's like the most loneliest job in the world is being a CEO of a company. I gotta say, that taught me a lot during the couple of first years because it's true. Like you're there building, and then nobody really understands you, but you gotta keep digging, like building and solving problems, and all of that kind of like it's just a different mentality. It radically changes you.
What is it like staring into the abyss or something?
Or just living out in the pure abyss. It's like not even staring. It's like you're in the abyss, and that's it. There's no way back.
Yeah, have you heard that one? I think Elon Musk says it, which is staring into the abyss and chewing glass or something like that. Yeah,
I gotta
that's
try
probably
that.
the closest analogy. So you've described the real breakthrough as realizing that issuance was not the product, right? The infrastructure around it was. So can you take me through the moment that it all kind of clicked for you and go deeper into that?
Yeah, so luckily for us, well, unluckily because we were doing infra and blockchain, so it was very niche. It took us a couple of first years till we had some traction. I would say 2023. The first years were more development, trying to get the clients, doing anything just to land something. It was quite hard, but there we survived. 2023, we started gathering feedback, and that allows us to restart reconstructing because we didn't have anybody to test. We had a lot of proof of concept, but proof of concept is not real data, right? So 2023, 2024, when we started amassing the clients and growing, we started figuring out, kind of like what is the real pain point. We thought it was kind of like the digitization phase. Then you start understanding that it's distribution, then you start onboarding, then you start seeing like the whole vision, right? At the beginning, you see a tree because you're like, I see this tree, I'm gonna go for the tree. But the more you get closer and then you start getting feedback, then you see like, oh my God, the tree, what am I here? There's a whole forest in the back. What? I was blind. So that's how you grow as a company. I think you figure out that maybe you were not ever building a tree, you were freaking planting a forest. And you have to go and pursue that in a way that you don't die, but you start solving problems little by little to your clients. And they're like, oh, what about this? And it's like, okay, that's a new problem. Where are we going to solve? How? And then you start growing that product or company, and it's always next to the market and obviously to the needs to your clients.
And once you saw that, like, what did you have to rip up and kind of like, rebuild inside Brickken?
Yeah, so this is a very cool question because I'm very happy because we've almost flipped a coin on that. We had the whole infrastructure that we have been building for, let's say, 2 years in the crowdfunding state, pivoting to infrastructure. Then we saw kind of like, hey, we can keep building on this, knowing that it will become a Frankenstein because if we had now to start with all our knowledge, we will redo everything. And that was the options. Either we keep building on top of a stack that we didn't believe in, or we scratch from zero. And scratch from zero means that you almost start from zero, which is again redo the whole tech, the whole experience, and everything. And we redid everything. So that was brutal because for another year there was like there's not gonna be any clients because the tech that we had does not work for what we're trying to accomplish, and the new tech has not even been built. And yeah, so we decided to go scratch from zero and reboot everything. But that was the best. We could have died easily. A couple of months were super hard, but thanks to that, we created something that when we launched it, we nailed the market. It was like brutal, and it was because we had the opportunity of years of studying to really obtain feedback and generate something with already like a bunch of advanced clean tech user experience, a bunch of different things that we are building on top of that, and we're keeping on that. I think that really separated us from a bunch of the competitors in the market, actually.
That's super interesting, man. You said that that institutions needed the same controls, right? Compliance standards and kind of like operational reliability they already expect from traditional finance. So what's an example of a control or like a piece of reliability that a typical crypto tokenization platform skips that you guys decided you couldn't skip?
Yeah, so I mean, in the end, kind of like there's obviously a lot of formats. B2C, usually the client doesn't care. Like if you're compliant or not, very people view. In crypto, I mean, we know exchanges out there that are so random, but they exist. B2C, very people do diligence. B2B, it depends. Some people care, it depends on the sector. But on banking, banking, and legal, fintech and legal, they do care. So you need to really be able to prove that you know how to handle data, securities, that what happens if there's a leak. So a lot of the things that we do here is actually just protection on that system, information security management systems, just to prove to the big guys that, hey, yes, it is true, you can still call me startup, but make sure I have all of these kind of like disaster recovery systems. What happens if I die? How to hand over data or the system to all work. So all of these things that are super complex and super costly is what happens when you choose a vertical like the ones we choose, which is financials. In other verticals, maybe you never get these questions and you still go and make business. But for us, big asset owners or some institutions, they're like, okay, give me all your certificates so I know at least if I can even try to talk to you. Because the problem is not even them, the problem is the compliance department in the back, the risk officer saying, if we want to do business with certain people, they need to go with all of this, and that's the only way that we do business with them. So it's a very bureaucratic system. So the only way to talk with these people is to act like them, really.
I like that. And what was the hardest part of convincing a genuinely kind of institutional client, a bank, an asset manager, a fund that, this was ready for them and not just for, retail crypto users?
Yeah, I mean, we're still in that phase. I mean, we're not clean, but I gotta say, like, with some banks, I've been talking for 4 years. Now we have some things coming up that are super nice, but I mean, it took us a long time. I think it's going to speed up the process in the coming years. Tokenization is solving. The crypto layer of things is dying. I feel bad for all the projects that rely on that, but the structure came through. Blockchain infrastructure is actually being used. I mean, Nasdaq Stock Exchange is going to start running stocks on blockchain quite soon, maybe next year. So what I'm saying is kind of like the infrastructure survived. Everybody understood. The big players is like, this is a great technology. It was used for certain things, but it doesn't matter. Technology is just a tool, and let's keep using that tool. Now, in this new age of 2026, conversations are faster. Knocking on doors is faster. Also, we have a presence and knowledge that we have been built for the years, so we know how to talk to different people. But the only true difference, I believe, for what happened between today and 6 years ago is that the market started understanding that technology, not for the marketing that was happening, kind of like the NFTs, all of these bubble of things that was true. And it was good because it created a lot of innovation. DeFi, if none of that went through, DeFi wouldn't exist. And right now, there's a lot of great things happening there that are getting involved into TradFi. But the whole thing, what I'm trying to say is, it also the environment started cleaning, kind of like the institutions stopped hating blockchain just because it was hateful, and started saying, "Hey, maybe I was wrong here because we do need this, and maybe Bitcoin is true. It's an asset value, and all of these things." So I think the only thing that happened was education in the market. Where both sides are getting educated, and conversions is happening between the blockchain people and the TradFi people.
Yep. I see it happening. I mean, it's like it's a bit like slow motion. But it,
Yeah, it's
but
super
it, but
slow.
yeah, but it's some like, but it's also kind of fast motion in other ways, right? Like I would never have imagined that the United States government would be would be like a Bitcoin advocate and pushing stable
That's
coins
true.
and all this shit, right? So
That's true.
that's BlackRock, and you've got So I think in some ways it's moving crazy fast. It's funny because the financial institutions were like looking at all us crypto bros and finance bros and blockchain guys and laughing and laughing, and then all of a sudden the world just zipped ahead of them, and now everyone's laughing at them, so they're trying to play catch up. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but was there like a specific moment or a specific client conversation that made you decide to kind of go get that level of like regulatory rigor rather than move faster and looser?
Yeah. So I mean, it happened in 2023, and in every single interview, I always say that was the radical year of approach for tokenization, or even for like the institutionalization of blockchain. And it was the BlackRock deploying build. Before, kind of like our sector tokenization, they used to call everything security token offerings, STOs. So by the word, it was already scary. It's like, oh, securities, you don't have to understand what is a security, how it works, the jurisdiction. There's a lot of things that, but if you don't know, then it's easy to say like, oh, securities, you never play with that. It's kind of like, this is too scary. And in 2023, two things happened that were in my sector at least. RWA, I don't know who came up with that word. Thank you. And I would love to talk, have a conversation, invite him for a coffee, because real world assets was the key word, and everybody's like, oh yeah, I just want to tokenize my real world. And it's like, you're still issuing a security, that, but now it's like, oh no, but it's a real, like, fine, just believe whatever you want. And this is radically important of how important marketing is, because the fear started eroding. It was like, oh no, we're just doing real world assets, but okay. And the second was, the biggest asset owner in the world deploys built on native Ethereum blockchain, and starts massively going 100% there. Then we got ETFs. Then we got other asset owners doing money market funds as well. So the big guys started playing, and that was kind of like the validation, because everybody else, you don't have to have 1 billion on their AUM, maybe 50 on their AUM, and you're like, okay, so these big guys are doing it. Why? Is it because of fees? Is it because of exposure? Is it because I need to talk to somebody? So that kind of education phase started approaching, and now people got it more excited. But 2023 was the kickoff of everything. Before then, it was a desert, but it was a brutal desert. Nobody wanted to talk about this specific sector.
Yeah, I remember it all too well. So I guess looking back, what's a decision you guys made at Brickken in the first 2 years that you'd flag to another founder as the one that actually mattered most?
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be a founder advice. Always be careful with your founders. That they always tell you, and I will always say, who you found and you're married. So I don't mind saying it now because it's public, but we went through a little bit of hurdles between good levers, bad levers, and that almost killed us. And that's true. I mean, you have to be careful who you co-found. Sometimes expectations are not the same as work. Sometimes money plays a big game because obviously who pays you, even if it's not the client. And I think my best piece of advice is whenever somebody tells you that, double pay attention, triple pay attention, because literally startups die not even because of market, clients, money, because of founders. It's as simple as that.
Wise words. So I guess in plain terms, Edwin, what is Brickken today, and like what does a financial institution actually do with it that they couldn't do before?
Yeah, so I mean, we as a software play, we allow companies to run tokenization services same day. So we radically lowered the barrier of adoption in the sense that people didn't understand. Still, it's not there, but people wrongly understood what was tokenization because, and I always put this example, like everybody knows how's Uber. Like you go up, click, taxi, arrive. Nobody needs to do more, right? If you're a competitor, faster, efficiency, points, whatever. But everybody knows how Uber works. But tokenization, nobody knows how it works. They all have these ideas that you have to create a smart contract, that you have to do all of these things. And what we try to accomplish here is just make them sure they follow a path. One, two, three, four. It's all about guidance. And that has a lot of things of why we are very successful because it's not that I will ever hit Uber like, but everything I do has to be simple. And then they have to understand that, oh, it was like that. I thought it was, yeah, you wrongly thought because you never saw it. And a lot of people never tested tokenization before. And there was a lot of writing on tokenization, but there was no knowledge. Nobody thought in their head, how does tokenization look? So that was also a huge pain for us because some people will come here with the preemptive minds, kind of like, oh, I need all of this or this. And it's like, no, you don't. You only need to follow this path. And that's kind of like the journey that we have accomplished. And with institutions, they're all the same because even though they have vast knowledge on financials, what we have is vast knowledge right now in the sector of tokenization and the user experience of it, the failures, the mistakes, making it better, failing again, one success. So we have iterated so many ideas that when the institutions come in, it's like, oh, you thought about everything. It's like, I didn't thought about everything. I felt absolutely on everything and then just stuck with the right things. And we were able to create Bricken on that. That's how it works.
And Edwin, yeah, your guys' mission is essentially to make private markets programmable, right? So when you talk to another founder or an institution about tokenization, what's your honest answer on what actually gets kind of meaningfully better when an asset is tokenized versus what's mostly marketing?
Yeah, so in the end, it's also the problem that we as we can have when you have to fundraise, for example, for equity, you only go to your known network, right? Let's pretend like it's LinkedIn, the emails, and that, but there's no other sources. When you shoot a loan, you go to the bank to request the loan, or you go to your friends, or maybe you go, depends on real estate, to a family office, but it's limited. And this is kind of like the thing about private markets. Since they're private, nobody knows where is the product and where is the liquidity. It's all around your network. So networks are limited by default. No, they don't connect. Even networks and networks now with internet, there's multiple, but still it's very capped. And basically, tokenization opens that gateway. It's not going to promise you that you're going to have a better product or better liquidity, but it's going to open the doors for you to be able to access more opportunities because now it's open. So you can get, I don't know, cross national. So it's as simple as that. If you're in real estate and you offer 10, 12%, I don't know, in Germany and you got a Brazilian family office, you will never know how to reach that opportunity in Germany because you're locally bound by Brazil, by the language, by your connections. But if you're a family office, maybe you're like, I'm crazy about the 12% in Germany. How do I talk to that person? Because I don't even know how to reach that person. Because maybe that person doesn't even have a website. A lot of promoters in real estate don't even have a lot of technology tools. This is just an example. So by making everything programmable and readable, these connections can start being made, right? Because now it's easy for you to find product. If I'm a huge millionaire and I want to invest in certain things, I don't want to just invest on my network. I want to find for the best opportunity. And maybe the best opportunity is worldwide cross rivers, cross oceans, because I want to invest in a Singapore shipping company. So this is kind of like the tokenization. A lot of people say it's democratization and liquidity. It is not. It is always about opening the door to new possibilities. And if your product is good, it will land liquidity. It doesn't make it better, it just makes it more accessible. So that's kind of like the first layer. Then programmability and liquidity are other parts of the product. But first, to make it better, you need to make it accessible. That's the first radical thing that tokenization does. It makes it acceptable that it is a product that has this API, that has this maturity, that has it becomes readable, and we're in a machine readable world, so it by default becomes accessible.
And you guys are building from inside Europe under MICA specifically, right? So what has that regulatory framework gotten right that you wish more jurisdictions would copy, and where does it still fall short for what you're trying to build?
Yeah, so I mean, we're building on the Europe. Europe is very hard to build. There's a lot of what do you call it, red tape, bunch of bureaucracy, bunch of licenses. Is very expensive. Applications. We've been under some. We applied to become a custodian of the MICA. We're probably gonna reach the year very soon. So it's very cumbersome, and that thinks two things. Either you really want to do it, so you pursue it and you're crazy about it. That means you do have a product and service, so that takes away the tourists out of there because it's well, if you don't know what you're doing, then why would you go for 1 year fighting with the commissioner to get a license to even start your product? So it deters tourists, but also it deters innovation. Other players would try to go elsewhere, right? America right now it's hot. North America is super hot on blockchain because of everything happening. So with the fact that we build here is that we stay true to our commitment that we want to really offer great organization service, the issues of securities under a regulation with oversight of that commissioner. So that our legality is quite high. That's trust. On the other side, it has really made us super kind of like not I want to say compliant, but procedural. We have a lot of processes in play because to get those licenses, you need to have a bunch of different situations, a compliance manual, a DORA compliant, which is cybersecurity procedures, whatnot. So we became very robust. And that for us became very easy because we're about to grow elsewhere. We're about to open office in the United States. We want to get some licenses there. And the request that they made is like, we already have it. Like let's just start applying and becoming there because the level of compliance in Europe is so high that when you go elsewhere, it's like oh my, it's like I don't know playing professional college basketball and then just going to some place to play with your friends and it's like guys, but I play professional basketball. Come on.
So your long-term vision is kind of what you call agentic capital markets, right? Where blockchain, regulated infrastructure, and AI work together to automate how assets are created, administered, and financed. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like that's a really interesting vision. Can you paint me a picture of what that actually looks like in 5 years?
Yeah, I I enter for tokenization. I'm gonna leave for agentic capital markets. That's gonna be my full journey on this specific vertical. Because the entry point was tokenization, making the product available, right? Searchable on the blockchain, accessibility 24/7. Anybody can jump in, trade. There's not intermediaries if you don't want. So it became accessibility. Now, the next layer, which was thanks to all the know-how that we have built, which is discoverability, kind of like how can you find this product or optimize the product? And it came, it was a crazy idea how we came up through it because we used obviously Cloud ChatGPT internally, and we used it for a lot of different things, and we started doing some things, even testing, kind of like, hey, can we help this client offer a better product because he doesn't know how to create his own product. Not everybody is a financial manager or CFO and create a bunch of maturity or loan instruments or syndications or all of this. A lot of people are like us, we want to know how to do it to survive. So we started thinking companies sometimes don't even know how to raise capital, startups don't know their valuation. There's a lot of ignorance, and it's fine. Not everybody's an expert on everything, right? And but AI, it's actually allowing people to get better at certain things if they want, right? So when we discovered the term, it was because we were doing a lot of iterations on the product that we came to the conclusion that AI is going to create product in the future. So even now it's happening with startups. Like when people are creating their next raise, they go the AI, they build their decks, the valuation, the finance, just because it's probably. But the VCs are doing the same. They throw it into the AI systems to verify the deck, optimization, and everything. So now it's a conversation with AI about fundraising with startups. It's just an example, but that's happening elsewhere. Even Michael Saylor said that he created the bond for the Bitcoin on MicroStrategy. It was made by AI. And probably another AI is telling the investor, myself, if I want to jump into the MicroStrategy bond, I should figure that I need all of this and I have all of this risk. So it's an AI against an AI conversation. We just don't know because right now we're just tooling it because we're the humans tooling the AI. But in the future, we know that for a fact AI is going to make a better decision than us just because they have way mass information in real time seconds, and that's what agentic capital markets is going to be. Products are going to be created by AI. It's going to offer into the market. It's going to be searchable, discoverable through blockchain technology. And on the other side, liquidity, people trying to invest in these products, they're going to find that product, analyze the risk, the factors, the maturity, and they're going to make the decision on behalf of the human and say, like, yeah, I want to invest in this product because it matches my investment thesis. So in the future, conversations are just going to be AI versus AI.
Yeah, I buy into that. I mean, ever since I discovered Bitcoin in 2013, 2014, I've been saying similar things, right? I spent almost 10 years in robotics as well. I mean, I see robots commercing in Bitcoin very shortly. So help me land the plane, Edwin. You've been a awesome guest. And by the way, thank you for the retweet as well. Your company retweeted this interview, so we're getting lots of
Thank
people
you.
watching live. I really appreciate that, Edwin. If you're talking to a founder or an institution today who's curious about this but skeptical, what's the one question they should ask themselves to know if tokenization is actually solving a real problem?
Ask ChatGPT. Now ChatGPT has better information than anybody. Nah, that's a joke. Honestly, it's a fee game. It's a numbers game. Everything we do in life, it's a numbers game. You want to go fast, efficient, less fees worldwide. Then tokenization is the new layer. It's an upgrade. It's not one or the other. It's just in Windows 2000 against I don't know Mac information. I mean, it's just a different upgrade. That's what we're doing. And a lot of people mistakenly do this kind of like, oh, if I go the tokenization way, then I don't do anything else. No, tokenization is version 3.0 of your current system. Your current system is you begin from hand buying to like money, hand or whatever, groups, trading, SaaS, whatever, to digital. Okay, now we have bands, Swift, and all that. Now to this next layer, which is worldwide. You don't need a band. You can do it yourself. You can go buy product. You can go optimize. You can receive dividends. You can receive the interest without anybody distributing to you. It's just an upgrade. So sooner or later, everybody's gonna fall on the upgrade. Like everything happens. It's just that this is slower, like we said it before, just because we're overhauling the whole financial industry. I mean, that industry, it's such a mammoth of so many legacy instruments that by default, obviously, it was going to take years to rehold the whole entity. It's so siloed that it's impossible to do it day and night. So to all the skepticals, I always say to them, just read the news. if the news tells you something and the big guys are doing it, then maybe, like always we say, with crypto, right? Follow the money. That's it.
That's funny. I mean, usually it's like better to not listen to the news, but now the world has moved forward so much. It's like, dude, just read the thing that you read anyways. And you'll see the world has caught up. Okay, Edwin, this is you're hilarious. You're also very inspirational and building something great. So I wish you the
Thank you.
best of luck. Edwin, anything else you want to finish up? Anything maybe I should have asked that I didn't? Anything else you want to comment on? And if not, maybe just leave the website and where
Of
you're,
course.
I don't know where you're blogging. Are you on LinkedIn? I think you sounds like you guys have a big following on Twitter as well, but maybe share some of that.
Yes, of course. So I mean, it's Brickken. Follow us on LinkedIn. Add me on LinkedIn if you. I always write a lot about tokenization and now agentic capital markets. If you want to DM me, of course. But I guess yeah, we do a lot of information on Brickken. We love it. We're very educational. So if you want to find out more, by all means, Twitter, LinkedIn, add us up, follow us, and let's keep in touch. And yeah, thank you very much for this invitation, Sam. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Edwin, hang out for 1 minute. I'm going to bring this stream to an end. We have quite a few people listening live as usual. Everyone, I really, really appreciate all of you for listening. And yeah, I guess everyone else that checks us out in the future. Until next time. Cheers.